Welcome to Get Real with your host, Judy Jewett, formerly known as Messages from the Angels. Today's channel message is from someone you may or may not know. This is the first channeled message shared from anyone who is human and an ascended master light being. Also, this channeled message is from a woman. So if there are any religious history buffs listening, you might know of her. Some religions call her Saint Anne. I went to Google and did a search, and I don't believe she's mentioned in the Bible. However, a religious history buff is going to know if that's true or not Google. Just so you know her character, the essence of who she is when she came in and channeled the message. She had a very distinct voice of an elderly, very sure of herself, and definitely wanted to share some information. I will be reading the message to keep all the words intact. And as you know, the message comes in when they're channeled through the heart, and the message is going out as I'm reading it. I now am channeling the message, and it is from the heart to your heart. And so it also becomes a personal message for anyone that is listening. I'm a long-lived human in history. I am well known as Hannah, the grandmother of Jesus. I am the mother of my daughter, Mary. I am known in history as the mother to Mother Mary. Most of you would know my son as Jesus and others as Yeshua. Both are correct. I was a teacher of women, as you currently are, and she is talking to me personally, but she's also sending this message to others who might be a teacher as well, or someone who is navigating magnetically to her to receive her message. Or you may know somebody that maybe it's not you, but you're the messenger for someone else. I will begin again. I was a teacher of women, as you currently are, and I empowered women as you do. I am most well known, of course, to my lineage. And let us speak about shedding the old ways and living in your truth while remaining relevant to others. That is an important lesson. There may be others around you. Those are devoid of the capacity to understand and relate to your message. It is important to speak to individuals where they will be able to hear you and to also be a message bringer. You want to speak specifically to those who are ready to hear you. For those who are not ready, it is a damage to them, for they will listen and be frustrated and put energy outward that is less than supportive of you. And what will happen in that moment is that it is a damage to themselves that they have done. For the spark of theirs have soul within them. It is their consciousness that they're living within that is their reality. This allows either the concepts to enter or pushes them away along with you. Loving yourself will attract those who are ready for your message and willing to embrace the truth, no matter where they are on their journey. Planting the seeds for those who are ready to receive the soil and nurture a seed. Does it not flourish? Of course it does. If I plant a seed in the sand and give it no substance, no water, you're just pushing against what is being offered. then of course it damages itself by digging itself deeper. I am Hannah, the grandmother of Jesus. I want to spend a few minutes and what does this really all mean? And why did I specifically share this message? This immediately took me to a time, gosh, probably 2005 or 6. And I've been on my spiritual path by that time, 10 years, just so you know. And I still knew a lot of people that would be considered in the box traditional people that are not going to believe the way I believe. They would believe in Christianity as I am also a Christian. I just look at things very differently. And so in this message, I was at a party and I hadn't seen somebody for a long time. And I had known this person in social gatherings probably for 20 years, just to say hi, how are you? And how's your children? And what are you doing? And that's it. Okay. And so this evening I was being asked, what am I doing? And of course we're catching up. And I was talking about how I had become a massage therapist. And I was doing primarily Swedish massage, relaxing touch in Ohio. I was licensed in the state of Texas, and the laws were different between the states. So I honored Ohio and I did what they said you're allowed to do. Now, the one thing I did, and I do when I did massage, I would incorporate energy medicine. And I've always done that. And so there's no speculations with that in the profession of massage, right? I mean, that's not what they're talking about. So in the relaxing massage, I was telling this woman that I loved what I did because I felt like I could connect so deeply that I felt I was massaging their soul. I was touching their soul. I didn't think much about what I said, but later on, I get a spiritual message that I just relayed a message to someone that isn't going to understand what I'm talking about. So if you have out of the box thinking, very much like I do, or anything similar, and you start talking about these things you're reading or learning, that is so out of the person's reality, and you know that by looking at their reaction, you might want to think twice. Or if you get on and you do teaching and you do videos and you start talking about things that a person isn't going to understand, the same thing happens. And so when you listen to what Catherine had to, I'm sorry, Hannah had to say, not Catherine, Hannah had to say, she was saying that it does damage to the person giving the message as well as the person receiving it. And if you, being a person, is wanting to become more neutral, because that is part of becoming non-dual, and that is part of the energy of ascension, is to become neutral. You want to also be careful what you're saying to others. Even though if I was talking to someone that understood the woo-woo stuff I was referring to, and to some people that would definitely be woo-woo, right? I'm massaging the soul. And what I was really saying wasn't that I was massaging the soul. What I was saying was, as I connect with the heart, the soul, the spirit of that person, that I get to connect at an authentic, deep level. That still is too far out for someone who has no idea what I'm talking about. Do you understand? So this could be a personal lesson to you or someone that you know, that make sure if you're the messenger, for one, your opinion has been asked. You just don't say all the things you want to say if no one hasn't welcomed you into that arena. And I will say there's very few people that can do that, that can pull that off. I know myself, I can't. And a lot has to do with if you follow human design, I'm a projector, and projectors are to be invited. So, okay, I was invited 20 years ago, right? At this party, I was invited, and it's probably more like, yeah, we'll say 20 years. But the thing is, I still gave a lot more information, and I could have said it in a way that it was very fulfilling. End of story. But you got to know the way I talk, everything is spirit. I've been this way for 30 years. I crave information. I crave truth, not information. And there is so much out online that is not true. Now you have AI giving you their opinion, and then you have others that thrive on stirring the pot. So be aware. Be aware. I sense that Hannah lived for hundreds of years, and I am going to dive into more specifics about that to gather more information because it totally fascinates me that you can be alive in biblical times and you can surpass the average age of 32, 35 years that most people lived to be. Now, that also was a limitation 150,000 years ago. So we're talking biblical times is 2,000 years plus. So yes, you would definitely live to be older. And there are others in the Bible. There are others in the Bible that has talked about living for a long time. So please leave your notes aside. Let me know if you enjoyed hearing about Hannah. I do have a message from Kuan Yin I would like to share. It's a pretty short message. I may add another one with it. I have Sananda, I have Horus, I have Buddha, I have Jesus. Those are just to name some of the ones that I do have messages to share. Um, I want to talk a little bit about Sananda. I was told by Archangel Michael that there's a lot of stories and information on Google that's not the correct information. So it's important that I only give you the absolute truth of divine information coming from a pristine source of high evolution, very high energy, because I feel like way too long we've been conditioned and told things that are not true. And it is time for us to waken up to the full truth. Make sure you subscribe, please, and share the channel with other people. My wish is that we can reach millions of people and share the truth. With that, thank you for being a part of Getting Real with Judy Jewett. And with that, namaste.